Good evening. This is Joan Conover from Seven Seas Cruising Association, and I've just started the webinar. And we have Jeff from Argo is here. And we'll wait for a moment and let some more people come in. We're also live streaming to YouTube on the SSCA channel. This is the SSCA Cruising Association, and this webinar is about the mobile app Argo. It's the top social app for the Chesapeake Bay per the Chesapeake Bay magazine. The panelist is Jeff Foulk, the developer of Argo. I want to thank our sponsor, Nautic. Nautic is an online course that you can take. SSCA provides the access to free courses, 2 free courses for Nautic. You can get some certification through that system. What we will cover, Argo is a free boating app to create routes to new destinations, share knowledge, and connect with other boaters. Created in 2019, has over 2,000 downloads and over 15,000 registered users in the Chesapeake Bay region, but it's expanding. And you can see an example of the application there up on the right side. During the webinar, you can ask questions via Q&A and interact with chat. We will answer questions after Jeff's presentation and description, and he will try to do a live demo at the end. Speaker panelist, there's Jeff, and I believe he can tell us who the young lady is, and there is their website. Please take that down. Again, Q&A at the end of the presentation. Chat questions will be answered. We're recording live to YouTube, and the recording will be placed on ssca.org. I'm going to stop my share now and turn it over to Jeff. And Jeff?
Thank you, Joan. And thank you for those that dialed in to the presentation. I look forward to talking to as many people as I can about the app. It's a fairly new app, so I enjoy getting the word out. But before I pull up my slides, I just want to let you know a little bit of what I'm going to do. I hope to give you a little bit more background about myself, kind of an overview of the app, and that's what the slides will help me do. And like Joan said, happy to answer any questions or actually do a demo of the app at the end of the presentation. And with that, I'll try and share my screen and pull up my slides. So this is kind of our tagline, Boat Better Together, which I think for clubs and associations like yours, I think it's very much talks to what you hope to do, and that is share experiences and share knowledge with fellow boaters and get out and enjoy yourselves together on the water. That's kind of what Argo does. It does a lot more than that, but that's one of its key features, is kind of try to bring boaters together. As Joan said, yeah, this is our team. Really, it's a very small team. It's just myself, and that is my daughter, graduated from college, and I kind of roped her into helping me promote the app in its first year, and also put together some of the tutorials that you can see out on our website. So she's been a real big help to me. In addition, I did pull in an app development company, a local company that helped develop the app, and certainly without them, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But it's certainly a pretty small team. Just a little background about myself. I am local, certainly local to the Chesapeake Bay region. I live up in Havre de Grace, Maryland, and I've been boating most of my life. I turned 60 this year, and I've only had 2 boats. Both Grady Whites, about the same size, not the large boats by any means. And although I've spent a lot of time on this app lately, I do still run another business. I run a family-owned defense contracting business, which my father started 40 years ago, almost 40 years ago. And that's done very well, and it actually afforded me the opportunity to do what I'm doing here. We grew the defense company from just starting in the basement of my parents' house to now about 350 employees and 13 locations around the country. So, but getting back to Argo, it's sort of been my dream the last 5 to 10 years to develop a boating app, something that was very clean and easy to use. I looked at some of the apps that were out there, and there just didn't seem to be an app that I felt was as easy to use as you might find in driving a car around trying to find a place and develop a route to get there. So that's kind of what I set out to do, but I also wanted it to bring people together, take advantage of crowdsourcing to find out what information other boaters knew about, also be able to see other boaters on the water. So I tried to pull that all together into one app, and I did talk about it a lot. I said here on my slide that my wife eventually gave me a nudge. Well, it was a little more than a nudge. I think I talked so much, she said, you either need to shut up about that app or build it. And I decided to go ahead and build it. So back in November of 18, I did find a local developer, gave me kind of the confidence to move forward. And about a year later, we were able to release the app, September 2019. A little more complicated, took a little more time than I expected. When I decided to bring all the NOAA data in and eventually brought in some of the Army Corps depth data as well, and then build an algorithm, it was a little more complex than maybe I originally thought, but I think it was well worth it, and it was worth taking the time. Even though we missed the first boating season, we continued to move forward, and all the feedback we've gotten has been very positive. I think when I gave Joan my numbers a couple of months ago, I may have estimated 20,000 downloads. We're a little over 18,000, but we're really moving pretty quickly. Certainly from 1,000 a year ago. We've got probably 500 downloads a week right now, and I think it's going to increase with the boating season coming into, at least up here in the Chesapeake Bay area. So like I said, I just want to give a kind of a quick overview of all the features, and it does have quite a few features. For a new user, it's a little overwhelming, but I think once if you're looking for some key features like navigation, it's really not that complicated. Once, like any app, once you get used to how things work, which buttons you need to push, you'll find it to be pretty easy. But I'll kind of walk around. This is the main screen, the main map, and then it has a list of, it shows what all the buttons do on the main screen. I'll switch over to navigation and kind of give a quick overview of navigation first. And with Argo, there's really 3 ways. Obviously, creating a route is what most people want to do. They want to figure out how to get from point A to point B. And there's really 3 ways to do that with Argo. One is to just find an icon on the map and click on it, whether it be a marina, a yacht club, an anchorage. Once you click on that icon, a screen will come up, and from there it's very easy to create a route from where you are, particularly if you're on the water, to that place. Up in the top, there's also a routing button. It's a little arrow. You can click on that button, and it brings up a little window that has a start point and an end point. And all you have to do is enter. If you're on the water, it assumes your current location, but you just need to enter a destination, and then it's very easy from there to create a route for you. The third way is the search. We've got a fairly large database of destinations throughout the US and Canada. You can use the search window here, and I'll get into that in a little more detail in a little bit, but you can from there find a destination that you'd like to go to, and again, it's very easy from there to create a route. Some of the other navigational features, a couple of dials here on the main screen. You've got a speed dial, which gives you your speed in knots or miles per hour, whatever you choose. There's also a depth gauge, which obviously it's not going to give you the actual depth. It's not a chart plotter, but based on the NOAA and Army Corps data, it's going to give you the depth that we have built into the app itself. And then right below that is a little kind of an interesting button. We call it a depth finder. You can toggle it on, and once it's on, you can tap anywhere on the map and it'll give you the depth. In this case here, you can see 23.8 feet. This was valuable. Previously, we didn't have any depth displayed on the map, so that was sort of your only way of finding out how deep the water was. Being a boater myself, that's not a good thing. You want to be out on the water. You want to see depths displayed on your chart plotter or on your apps. So we now do have depths, NOAA depths that are displayed on all our map options. Moving down toward the bottom, we've got a recenter button, which also acts to reorient the map from north up to course up, so you can go back and forth based on your preference. And below that is a button that allows you to drop pins, report pins, and you can see we've got a couple of report pins over here: hazard, map issues, weather, marine life, and we've got many more, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. So that's your basic navigation. Obviously, we've got buoys and beacons, restricted area. We do have other NOAA data we could certainly put on the map, but right now that's kind of the main features from NOAA that we've displayed on the map. Going back to the main screen with all the features, I'll walk kind of briefly through these, and I'll start up top again. The search window I did mention already. We've got a database of close to 100,000 destinations throughout US and Canada, so you've got a pretty good chance of finding a destination where you might want to go. The routing button we talked about. Next to that is a bell for notifications. You could get a notification as a friend request that's coming in. You might have somebody who wants to send you a message. You may have a friend that's liked one of your posts in our social feed. So there's different notifications you could get, and that just provides you an indication if you've gotten one, and you can pull it up. Next to that is a map filter, and I'll talk more about that in a little bit. But obviously, ways to customize the map to suit what you want to see. And then next to that, a pretty important button. It's just 3 little dots. Important because it's got your profile in there, and you definitely want to go in and add your draft and your average speed and various other information about your boat so that the auto routing works correctly. That also has a link to our tutorials and some other information. Next, kind of dropping down to the bottom left corner, we've got a button that takes you to the captain's log. And the captain's log is basically a place that allows you to keep track of your trips, your places, your favorite places, so you can get back to them very easily. You can save not only your own trips, but you could save trips that perhaps your friends have shared with you, so you can keep a log of some of your friends' trips. So that's something we've been working on a good bit the last couple of months, and it's much improved. Next to that is a social feed. I'd say a little bit like Facebook, but this is really just for your boater friends, but it allows you to share your experiences, share your voyages, share your places. And again, it's just those that you allow to be your Argo friends. Next to that is the home button, and that's basically just in case you get kind of lost in the app and you want to get back to the main page, that's your home button. To the right of that is the chat button. That allows you to message your friends, so you can do one-on-one messaging. And then finally, the friends button next to that, which allows you to invite friends and actually establish Argo friends through a friend request, and then they accepting that. So that, like I said, there's a lot of features. Maybe one other thing I'll talk about, and that's some of these icons that you may see over here, other boaters, and you'll see them on the screen. If someone is using Argo, whether a friend or a non-friend, you can also see them on the map. So it's a really nice feature, particularly for groups that want to come together for a raft up. You can see some of your friends all coming together by just seeing them on the map. Obviously, you have to have Argo on, so you're not going to be seen on the map if you don't have the app on. And if you're someone that doesn't want your friends or family to see you, there are settings to turn that off, but it's a It's a really nice feature for seeing what boaters are around you, how many boaters are around you using Argo, and where your friends are. Excuse me. So that's a quick overview. I think with that, I will talk a little bit more about navigation. This is our auto routing, and it's just sort of a looping video that shows how easy it is once you set the starting point and the end point. It very quickly, and if it's a fairly short route, comes up instantaneously. And I can talk more about our routing algorithm, but it essentially looks at the information that you put into your draft or into your profile, both the draft, and we've got something we call buffer, which allows you to provide a margin of safety above your draft. With that information and the depth information we have from NOAA, it kind of draws the shortest path based on that. Doesn't necessarily follow the channels and the buoys. That may be something we do in the future. Really, it's just looking for the shortest path, but you can adjust that by changing your draft and changing the buffer that you enter into your profile. As I was talking to Joan, we don't have depth data for many of the inland lakes, so for that reason, and although we think it's a nice additional feature, we added manual routing, very similar to other navigational apps. You enter your start point, and every time you tap the map, it creates a route, and you can then use that to get to your destination, and you can use that also to save your captain's log. And I guess a good thing to point out here is down in the lower left, there is a toggle switch that takes you back and forth between a manual route and an auto route. And it will always kind of be left where you last had it. So if you were playing with the manual routing and you come back up at another day and you wonder why your routing's not working, most likely it's been left in manual routing and you need to switch that over to auto routing. Some other real key navigational features, and one that's probably most popular among our users, is ETA. You can be sitting home on your couch and planning out various trips that you want to take, and it'll give you the ETA based on the average speed of your boat. So you get an idea how long it's going to take you to get to each place that you might want to go. And then when you're en route, it will take your actual speed and adjust that ETA as you go. We've had a number of boaters, particularly sailboaters, that say they find it to be very accurate to give them an indication when they're going to pull into the harbor. So it's been a very popular feature of most of, at least some of the feedback we get from our users. The other thing, of course, is customizing the map. And as I mentioned earlier, there's a map filter in the upper right part of the main screen. And if you click on that, you'll get this screen to the right, which gives you a number of different map options, the standard, satellite, and terrain that you get from Google. But we've also added the NOAA raster chart and the NOAA ENC chart. And we've also layered all of our charts with the NOAA ENC. So if you are in standard or satellite or terrain, you'll get the NOAA ENC overlaid onto those maps. We are working on our own kind of depth server. So eventually, as we add the Army Corps of Engineer or other data that we might find, you'll have more than just the NOAA ENC. You'll have all the data that we have collected. From here, you can also adjust, how you want to see depth in feet or meters, how you'd like to see your speed, whether you'd like to see all users on the water or just your friends. So it gives you a lot of ways to customize the map. Any of the report pins, any of the NOAA pins, you can adjust them on or off as well. So you get a lot of ways to customize the map so that it's not too cluttered for you. The search feature that I talked about has a number of options once you get in there, and you can search by category or keyword or both. So you could click on a marina and then type a specific marina that you want to see, and you'll get a list of the results that come up. if you've been using it for a while and you've entered your profile, it gives you a very easy way of setting your profile as a start point. If you've done a number of searches, you'll have a history. You may have favorites that you've saved. So in many cases, you may not even need to use search. You could just use some of the things that you've got saved in the app itself. Or you can just choose on map, which pulls up a map and allows you to tap on the map as to where you want to go. Another feature, it's a little hidden, but not too much. There's up in the upper right-hand corner, there's a small icon with a magnifying glass. If you click on that, it provides you a map view of your results. So this is displayed here on the right, where you've got these orange indicators showing the results of, in this case, it was a restaurant in the Havre de Grace area where I live. You can see these visually where they are, as well as the list below. And this is a little older screen grab because we currently have numbers on all those pins that associate with the numbers on the list view. And I could take the map, slide it down to Annapolis or even further south and hit search this area, and it would pull up a similar result of restaurants in that area. So it's very easy to use. And one other thing I'll say before I move on, the basic search is it's searching in a radius around where you have the map. Until recently, it was searching around your current location, but we had a number of people we had one individual that was in Texas, his boat was in Florida. He really wanted to search in the Florida area, and it was more difficult to get to this screen on the right and then slide the map and hit search this area. So now wherever you have the main map is where the search will focus. So if it's right where you currently are, that's where the search will be. If you'd rather search a couple 100 miles away, you just move the map and you hit search. So it's a lot easier than it was even a month ago. This is just a screen that you would see if you happen to click on an icon on the map, or you did a search and you clicked on one of your search results. In this case, it's just an example of the Great Marina. If you happen to find the Great Marina on the map and you clicked on that icon, or you found the Great Marina through a search, this was a screen that you'll get, and you can see big bold letters, create route. It makes it very easy to create a route to that marina. And then in addition to that, you can favorite it. This button here allows you to save it to your captain's log or share it. It really kind of just bookmarks it into your captain's log, given it's a place, or share it. And down at the bottom, you can see we have reviews. We haven't brought in any reviews from Google or any place. We really want reviews from fellow boaters. So we kind of started at 0. And you can add a rating and a review to any place that you typically go to. Last fall, we had a little promotion where we asked people to add reviews, and if they added 5, we'd send them an Argo hat. And we very quickly went from maybe 40 reviews to 400 reviews, and we might do that again this spring or summer. I think it was most of the reviews were done in the Chesapeake Bay region, but we hope to expand upon that. Here's the captain's log, and this is a little outdated. Like I said, I've been updating a good bit of the captain's log, but it provides you a list of your trips. You can now see if it's favorited or favorited right from the screen. You can also sort and filter your trips in many different ways, whether it's a manual route, an actual voyage, whether it's a friend's voyage or your voyage. So there's a lot of ways to group and filter your trips, organize them. Same thing with locations or places. This is just a screen that you would get if you clicked on one of your trips. It pulls up the actual route that you set, as well as the tracks when you took the voyage. If you dropped any pins along the trip, it would show what report pins you dropped. And from this screen, you could retake your voyage, you could favorite it, or you could share it. And if you're sharing within the app, obviously you're just sharing it to your friends. But the detailed screen will give you the distance, the duration. If it's got both your original route and your track, it'll show both. This is the current version of our report pins. You have 9 pins that you can drop. Obviously, the hazard is one of the key ones. Once it's fairly easy to drop a pin. In this case, showing you drop a hazard pin. You can indicate whether it's floating, submerged, or protruding. You can also take a picture. You can add a comment. And once you drop that pin, others that pull that up can like it or give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. They can also add their own comments. So obviously, it's very similar to Active Captain in that it takes advantage of crowdsourcing and information from other boaters. And although I was pleased with what we started with, I feel like we've got a lot of other report pins that we should make available to our users. So this next screen gives you a kind of a glimpse of what I'm envisioning. Not only the original report pins that we have, we do have one place pin, but what I'm mainly doing here is expanding the single place pin to a whole host of, I think, 15 or 16 different places. Many of them that you can find through searching, anchorages, marinas, yacht clubs, boat ramps, things like that. But we've also added fishing spots, points of interest, beaches, things like that that you might want to drop a pin. And we hope to make it a lot easier to drop a pin, whether you're sitting on your couch and drop that pin out on the water, or actually being out on the water and drop it at your current location. So that's something we have plans to work on in the next month or so, with the hope to have it ready certainly before Memorial Day. This just shows you some of the local ratings and reviews that you can easily add to any destination that we have in our database. Add photographs. And again, as I said before, very easy to see friends and other Argo users on the map. And we hope to extend this, from not only friends, but maybe groups. So for instance, your group, you could all have a certain burgee or a certain icon that you could easily recognize yourselves when you're out on the water. And maybe even plan events. So you can establish an event, see who's going to go, see each other as you're coming, maybe see the ETA of each of your friends as they're coming to raft up in one location. So I think there's a lot of really fun things that we could do with that to help boaters enjoy the water and get together out on the water. This is just a screen grab of the social feed. And as I said, a little bit like Facebook, but really the focus is on boating experiences, voyages, places that you'd like to share with your friends. And from here, you can actually view your friend's voyage, and you can even retake your friend's voyage right from here. This is just a screen grab of the messaging or the chat window, allows you one-on-one messaging. And this is a little busy, but I just wanted to point out some of the testimonials that we've got, and we've really had some good feedback. Over 300 reviews on the App Store, 4.8, I think, 4.8 out of 5. But what we're hearing, very obviously people like the auto routing. They love how easy it is to use. They compare it to Waze. Argo's like Waze on the water. As I said before, the ETA is something that they've found very useful. So it's very encouraging. When I started, I really wasn't sure if I was going to push through. It really depended upon what kind of feedback I got after I started, and everything's been very positive, so I'm continuing to kind of push forward. And by push forward, we've certainly not stopped improving the app. In fact, I don't see that ending. We're going to continue to add additional features, improve features based on feedback we get. So very much welcome feedback from those that are using it, and I'm usually pretty responsive in getting back to our users. Some of the things that we're working on, as I mentioned, Captain's Log. For the Friends, we've recently updated that, making it much easier. We're about to release an updated profile, making that easier and adding additional information to your profile. We just started on working the iPad. I mean, it works on the iPad, but not in landscape mode. So we're hoping within the next week or so we'll have that out and working, let's say, fully functioning on an iPad, so you can see it full screen and you can put it in portrait or landscape mode. The place and report pins I did discuss, hope to get to that here in the next month or so. We don't have waypoints or tracks. I'd like to add those. So these are all things that I hope to have integrated before the summer. And some of the longer term, although I hope this first one's not too long, I would really like to add more features to help boaters in establishing and setting up events in groups and being able to see each other, as a group out on the water. And then desktop version, heads-up reporting. I think there's a lot of capability there with what we've got established as a baseline in terms of setting a route and knowing what hazards lay ahead. So you could, not only for planning purposes, but maybe even as you're going along on your boat, getting a heads up that, hey, there's crab pots coming up on the port side or whatnot. So I think there's a lot of opportunity there. And finally, other things which I think will be very easy for us to add. We just haven't done that yet. And that's, I mean, we're not going to reinvent the wheel there. I think we want to pull in weather, wind, tides, currents, maybe even no wake zones and bridges, from other sources that have that information. And that's what I hope was a fairly quick overview, and I didn't lose anybody. It's been a lot of fun developing the app so far, and I look forward to continuing to improve it and get feedback from boaters, particularly this summer.
Hey, Jeff, this is Joan, and we have a question from, from Ann Westgard, but I was going to just let her, she raised her hand, so I was just going to let her talk. So, Ann, you are talking if you would like, and ask your question about the social network aspects. Can you hear us? Maybe not.
She might be muted.
Yeah. No.
Okay, how about that? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, my Bluetooth was acting up. So my question basically was just about communicating with the boaters in the vicinity. How does one do that? Can you do it through the app? I mean, I can see it would be useful to, you see somebody going through a bridge ahead of you and you want to know about the clearance and there's no reader board, stuff like that. So somebody you don't know, but you can see is showing up on the app. What happens after that?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a key is they have to be on the app. So if they are another Argo user, they may not even be a friend of yours, but there's someone that you see up ahead. You will be able to click on their icon and send them a message or an ahoy. We hope to be able to send them a message here very soon. We currently cannot do that, but I think that's coming very soon. So, and I guess if you sent them a message, they should get a notification. The key, I guess, would be how do you get their attention? But the plan would be, yeah.
Okay, so they'd have to have their notifications on, or they'd have to be.
They would have to be looking at the app, I think, to see that a message was sent.
Right. Okay.
Now the ahoy feature, which we hope to add soon, will pop up and maybe be a little more obviously when they see, okay, somebody's giving me an ahoy. What's that about? Then they might draw their attention. They look at the app. You could also send them a message. That's sort of our thinking. We're certainly welcome any feedback on that, but that's our plan, is to be able to click on someone else's icon that you see, send them an ahoy. That will pop right up, and then also a possibility of sending them a message.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, it sounds like if the people you were traveling in a group, you'd already know to look for each other. That's is more of a just an issue for people who are happen to see somebody else in an area where they are that they don't know.
Yeah, certainly if it's a friend of yours, you will also be able to message them by clicking on their icon or send them an ahoy. But yeah, you should be able to tell the difference between your friends and non-friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And when you say send a message, you mean like a message within the app?
A message within the app. Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, I realize there's other social applications. You could just send them a message.
Right.
True.
Right.
You don't necessarily have to use the app, but you could.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That was my question. Thank you very much.
Mhm.
Hey, thank you, Ann.
You're welcome.
So Jeff, did you want to try to bring up your demo?
Yeah, I can do that, and certainly happy to answer any other questions that people may have.
Do we have any other questions? And I think we're,
So I'm gonna exit, like you said, Joan, my from my desktop, and hopefully I'll be able to get in via my phone.
well, Jeff, thank you very much. I'm assuming that you'll come in shortly. This will be interesting. He hasn't tried it yet.
All right. Hopefully that worked.
Well, I see your face.
Um, Can you see the app?
Yes, I can see the app. I see Verizon Light and then the search, and then you're showing West Rock Station and Susquehanna State Park.
Well, it's sitting right here where I live, and certainly happy to do whatever you or anyone wants me to do with the app. But I can start with just some basic searches. I'll hit the routing button. I get the start and the end point, and because I'm not on the water, it wants a starting point, and I'll click on my port of origin, which is a local boat ramp, and then I'll hit choose destination. And I could show you the search, but let me just do a quick one using my favorites. And I'll click on the Bush River Yacht Club. And you can see how quickly it developed a route from where I am out into the bay and down across and around. And you'll see there's a couple of yellow patches. In fact, really, as I get closer to the Bush River Yacht Club, that yellow is indicating it's within my buffer or my margin of safety. You'd see red if it got below your draft, which it will only do that if there's no other way to go. And obviously it's telling you better not go there unless you really know the water. So it turns yellow just to give you an indication it's obviously in shallower water and it's within the buffer that you set in your profile. Let me go back, and if I was to try that again, but this time when I go to set my destination, I look for marinas. I'll click on the marina category. It gives me a list of marinas in my local area. And well, I'll take the Joppatown Marina. Before I do that, I could just click on the Joppatown Marina there, but I'll look at the map view, which I talked about. And that's hitting that icon in the upper right-hand corner. If I click on that, it gives me a map view of my results. And these are numbered, like I said, you can see the list as well as the view of the map. And I can in fact go down. I think that might be the Bush River Yacht Club. No, this might be the Joppatown Marina. I'll click on 13. Yep, there it is. And from there, I could select that. And it, just like it did for the Bush River Yacht Club, it drew me a very quick route. And from here, I could save that route to my captain's log, or I could start a voyage. Let's say if I save that route, and I could type in a name or a description, but I'm going to go ahead and save it. And then if I go over to my captain's log in the lower left, I've got quite a few in here. I've been doing a lot of testing, but this first one that pops up top is the one that I just saved. And you can see it's the trip from my boat ramp down to the Joppatown Marina. We've just added a little button here in the lower part of the map where you can click on that and expand it full size and move it around, expand it, or I could minimize it and go back to the main screen. And from here, I could take that voyage, I could favorite it, hitting the heart. But it tells me it's 40 miles, going to take me about an hour and a half based on the speed that I've got set in my profile. If I go back to the main list, you can see the heart is still blue, so it shows that I favored it. And like I said before, it gives you a lot of options to filter your routes. Could be a planned, well, not only routes, but a planned route, a planned trip or route, a trip that you've taken, favorites. Could be your voyages or a friend's voyage, or it could be an auto route or a manual route. And then you can sort it different ways by name or date taken. Let's say I just want to look at my favorites. You can see down on the very bottom, it shows the results. I've got 16 that I've favorited. And I could just pull those up and review those. So a lot of ability to not only save to your captain's log, but then view it in different ways. Same with places. So I'll go back to the main map. One button that I didn't talk about is a feedback button, and that's in your lower left, right above the Google name. If you click on that, it'll just give you a couple of questions, what you think of the app and any feedback that you might have. And like I said, I'm usually very quick. Within a couple hours, I will be responding. Some people just say great app. Some people find issues and they put it through the feedback, but I usually respond via email once I get some feedback through the in-app button. Let's see. The map customization, we'll try the NOAA ENC. You can see you've got a little more information that NOAA offers. I kind of find the satellites kind of interesting. Because it does give you, it gives you the contours and all the depths. But it has a lot of the pins that we've overlaid, the buoys, the beacons, any of the marinas. Let me click on one of these marinas. And we'll try another one, more popular one. Here's the Tidewater Marina. It's got a review that pops up, but you can also pull it up and see more information. Right now, we only have contact information, but we're getting ready to add fuel and a lot of other amenities that you might find at a marina or a yacht club. That's something we're going to be working on over the next 2 or 3 months to help try and populate more of our marinas and yacht clubs with valuable information for our boaters. Any questions that you're things you'd like me to try doing with the app?
Anne raised her hand. Anne, do you want to tell him what you have a question on? I don't know if she can.
Unmuted again. Okay, how's that?
That
My
works.
question was about satellite views of launch ramps.
Of a boat ramp?
Yeah. Yeah, we've learned about going to boat ramps that it's always good to know ahead of time what it looks like space-wise and parking-wise and how it's all laid out. I was just curious.
Here's the boat ramp that I typically not really a great view.
Well, it's
But
better
yeah,
than
I think
better than looking at it in the map book. That's
no, there's no doubt. Yeah, you can use the satellite view. It's a very good use of satellite to get a better idea of what the boat ramp's going to look like before you get there.
yeah. No, this is a good feature. I'm thrilled to see it actually.
Yeah, I know. I've had people tell me about boat ramps that we don't have in the app, so I've been busy adding additional things that maybe we don't have, and I've used the satellite image to really pinpoint where the boat ramp is, because you're right, it's pretty easy to see a boat ramp. It doesn't look like anything else.
Yeah, well, it's also nice to see a little bit of the road coming in there, just to see what issues you might be having, and where the parking is, and just so you get a better feel for it. So this is a great feature. Thank you.
Hey, Anne and Jeff, one thing to
I lost you there.
boat ramps. State of Virginia has now is starting to have charging for boat ramps or use of boat ramps. You'll see a sign there. If you have a dinghy license or a boat license in the state of Virginia, you don't have to pay, but they've got some new rules. So be sure and read the signs if you go near a boat ramp in Virginia.
Yeah.
All right.
Maryland, it seems to be county by county, all different, some expensive, but that's life. Another thing to check out.
I mean, the Friends feature is something, particularly if you're trying to first start with the app and bring in some of your friends. It was a little confusing. We hopefully made it a little bit easier. There's an invite friends button down at the bottom that is only telling them about Argo and asking them to download it. I mean, if I was to click on this, it gives me the ability to send them an email or send them a text, and it's sort of pre-filled. So you're just telling them, check out this free boating app, provides a link to the app, and ask them to download it now, because you've got to get them on the app first. Once they've done that, then you can search for them within the app, and we hope to make that a little easier too. We've got some ideas to be able to search for Argo users, like in the vicinity of your home port or the vicinity of where you are, so you kind of know who's around you. But if you know their name, you can use the search.
Jeff, we have a question from Carla Witzel. She's asking, could you show us how to use the app to navigate on your way?
And this is a case, I'm assuming, I mean, you can, yeah, let me do that. I mean, once you set a route, so I'm going a little quick there, but let's say I just set a really short route from my boat ramp to the Tidewater Marina. So I'm not going very far. Now, it's a lot easier if I was actually at the boat ramp, because when I hit start voyage, it's going to want to start where I am, which is over here at my house. I'm not at the boat ramp. But you would hit start voyage, which I just did, and it's going to start saving your motion, your movement. And obviously, as you're moving, you just need to stay near that route. I mean, it's just a tool. So obviously, and experienced boaters know that everything that we use, whether it be an app or a chart plotter, it's just a tool, one of many things that you might use to navigate. So you stay close to that route as long as it makes sense to you. And when you get to your destination, you can hit end and save. Now, with a phone, there's not a lot of real estate here. So we did put a button here above the ETA that allows you to at least drop some of the information down to give you a larger window. And then you can pop that back up if you want to end or save your voyage. But while you're on your voyage, you could drop pins. If you wanted to get a heading line, you just tap on your indicator, your location indicator, and you can toggle that on and off. Whoops, I pulled up a place pin that was under my indicator. So that's very easy to just toggle it on or off.
Now, Jeff, you do have videos describing this on your website?
We do. We do have tutorials, and we may not have this video on our website, but it is out on YouTube. We did send an email out to all our users a couple months ago when we first introduced this feature, because we also included, like I said, the map orientation. Right now we're in north up mode. Now we're in course up mode. And you can kind of toggle back and forth between the two.
Well, Jeff, thank you very much. And we're getting close to the end of our time. And I want to thank you for this presentation. It's recorded. It will be on ssca.org, and it will also be on YouTube because it's being live streamed and it's saved there. We will be sending the links out to all the attendees, and you're more than welcome to share that information with other people. If there are any other questions, I don't see. Anne, thank you very much for your questions. Jeff, excellent presentation. And we thank you very much for presenting to the users and to YouTube.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Yep. Thank you, Jeff. We'll look forward to giving it a shot as soon as we get the boat in the water.
Okay. That's good luck. I think everyone's looking forward to getting back out on the water.
That's it. Good night. Good night,
Good night.
Joan. Thank you.
Hey, good night.